piece of property that I thought. And then wrote to a lot of owners to see if they would sell. Yeah, that was.
How long you been out there?
We, before that, we were in First Pine Ridge. Then good.
Hi.
Yeah, we moved around a little bit.
Okay.
Here. How are you? I moved up in the world.
Julie.
Margaret Bolt.
Nice to meet you.
Howdy.
Nice sunglasses.
Oh, we just lost. We just.
So do it.
Just on the computer.
I was hoping just to do volume here on the mic. Can you hear me? Is that working? Yes, no?
Hi, Sam, can you hear us? Hi, Sam, can you hear us?
I can hear y'all.
Thank you. Julie, will you just make sure your mic is turned on?
Yeah, can you hear me as well?
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. This is Julie. I'm on virtual for the slideshow, but also in person.
Hi, Margaret. I'm good. Haven't seen you in a while.
Well, I've been here.
Yeah, I guess you've been here and I haven't been,
That's it,
or
that's it.
I've been here and you haven't been. But I knew you were doing Zoom or WebEx one time while I was here.
Hey, Bob.
Hey,
How are you?
Andy, how are you?
See you.
Nice to see you.
Hey, Margaret.
Andy, I'm gonna have to order you a new nameplate now that you're a commissioner.
Can
not
we
a
just
trustee.
cross it out? and mark it?
I don't know where it is.
Don't we have whiteout? I got some at home, no worries. Tape over it.
So Andy, you didn't get very far.
No.
You got off the trustees, but put on the
I think I
planning
got, what,
commission. You
5
didn't get away.
Got 5 weeks off here. I'm happy to be here.
So I'm just gonna, the mayor is gonna chair the meeting tonight since there is no official chair of the planning commission right now after the recent election and the change of commissioners. So I just want to let everybody know. So Mayor, whenever you're ready.
Is it 6:30? 2 minutes. So we had 27 students out here yesterday, or 25 to 35-year-olds. You saw that email?
Yeah.
Jane
I
Hansberry.
didn't know about it until too late.
Oh, did you?
I had
It was,
scheduled
so
something else.
27, 25 to 35-year-olds that were from 24 different countries in Africa. And they were just an amazing group of people.
I
So,
wished I would have been
yeah,
able to make it.
yeah. So we gave them a pretty good Fraser Valley tour. So they saw the snow, a bunch of them saw snow for the first time on top of
Really?
the pass. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Oh, here's Alyssa.
Okay, you ready, Antoinette? Like to call to order the Town of Fraser's regular planning commission to order at 6:30 on Wednesday, June 22nd. Can I please have a roll call?
Andy Miller,
Bob Ganesi.
Sam Brewer,
Cornell Quinn.
Philip Vandermeer. We have as appointment of chair and vice chair on the agenda tonight. I'd like to remove that because we have 3 applicants for a vacancy that's coming
Okay.
up. Sam is stepping down. So we're losing Sam, but we have 3 applicants. So I'd like to wait until the next meeting to see. I haven't had anybody reach out to me and say, I want to be chair or vice chair either. So, well, Katie, but Katie can't be the chair according to our regulations.
Philip, who's allowed to be chair?
So it has to be appointed by the mayor. And Katie is not appointed by the mayor.
Cornell was asking who can be chair.
That would not be Katie or who else is, where's the list?
So it's on the memo. So the commissioners appointed by the mayor are Bob Ganussi, Margaret Bowles, Andy Miller, and Sam Brewer. And I believe that one of those 4 can be a chair of the committee. So Katie Souls is an ex officio board. She's appointed by the Frasertown board. She cannot be the chair by our code. And then you have the ex officio member appointed by the mayor, which is Parnell Quinn. Now, I don't believe he can be the chair because he's the ex officio town board member, but he's still appointed by the board or by the mayor. To me, it's slightly unclear in the code if that person could be the chair. 'Cause
Another
he's
reason,
still appointed by the mayor.
right, another reason we're gonna wait until the next meeting to get
Yeah.
clarification on that as well. So, hopefully I get, somebody reaches out and anyhow, not looking at you or,
Parnell reached out
yeah,
to me.
all right. Okay, so can I have an approval of the agenda with removing that from the agenda? A motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And then consent agenda, which just has the minutes from April 27th on it. If I can have a motion to approve the consent agenda. In a second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now we are at public hearing and possible action, the Middle Park Health Fraser Health Center major site plan, not mayor, unless you guys are naming it the mayor. Mayor site. Okay, and Julie, who's with Baseline, is going to be welcome Baseline tonight. They're our planning, not quite, our planning team that has replaced Catherine. So welcome.
Hi, thank you. Yes, my name is Julie Esterl. I am a planner at Baseline. We're located in Golden. And with me is Ben Thurston. He is the planning director for our division in Golden at Baseline. I'm presenting today on behalf of Ryan Helly. He prepared the staff report for you guys on the Middle Park Health Center. And I have just a brief presentation. This is for the approval of a major site plan. Property owner is Kremling Memorial Hospital District, also known as Middle Park Health. Just gonna close my window there. And the property that they are planning to develop is located at the Village at Grand Park, filing 2, lot 12C. There was a mistake or typo that we had kind of carried over from the previous resolution indicating that this was lot 2C, but that's been corrected in this presentation. And also I provided an updated resolution to the mayor this evening. So this property is going to be located off of Telemark Drive, which is formerly Kings Crossing Road. This application is being processed as major site plan in accordance with section 19-2-110 of the Fraser Municipal Code. It's required for any non-residential development. Conditional approval of this same site plan was granted by resolution 2020-0401 in April of 2022. Per section 19-1-245 of the municipal code, the approval has since expired and needs review and re-approval. Here is the location map and a few pieces of information about the property. Again, it's lot 12C. It's going to be addressed, I believe, the property is currently addressed at 31 Telemark Drive. It's 2.7 acres, zone PD. And they're proposing a 2-story, 31,000 square foot building with a helistop. The first floor is planned for emergency department, inpatient care, imaging, lab, and pharmacy. And the second floor is going to be shelved space for future growth. And this is a visual of the exterior finishes. All of the parking and landscaping, open space, and all of those other planning issues were worked out at the previous approval. The applicant took those conditions of approval from 2022 and updated their resubmittal to us in May. And we just received comments back from that last week. So we will be working with the applicant to go over those and make sure those final conditions are satisfied before final approval. So that these are the two conditions of approval. Referral comments must be addressed, and a construction guarantee agreement and appropriate security shall be submitted and approved. That needs to be done prior to building permit issuance. So our recommendation is that the Planning Commission approve the Fraser Health Center major site plan, including the conditions of approval noted in the planner briefing. Do you have any questions from the Planning Commission members?
I just have one, just out of curiosity. Were there always there were always 6 beds? I thought the other one only had 2. Did it increase them?
2 inpatient beds.
Okay.
So if, when you speak, you need to come up to the podium and then, and let us know who you are. So state your name, who you're with, and then, yeah, because it's all being recorded, so we
Yeah.
have to have it.
Tom Coburn with Middle Park Health. The original plans, which are still current, are 2 inpatient beds, 5 emergency room beds, and 1 triage room, which could become an emergency room bed. So there are 6 emergency beds, 2 inpatient beds. Questions on that? Stood up too fast.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I had a question in looking through the documents that were included. And this is probably just typos or clerical issues, but it says that in the planner briefing, it says there's 57 parking spaces. But if you look in the land application, it says there's 59 parking spots. And then down here, it looks like you're totaling 43, but if you're looking at 21 and 24, that's 45, and you got 53.
That's a good question.
I mean, it's just going through here, there's different numbers for the parking. So what is the correct number?
Yeah, I noticed in the updated cover letter that we received last month that the number was 53. The briefing from 2020 indicates that there were 57.
Mhm.
So I don't know if someone, one of the applicants can address the difference there, or, and I can probably pull up the site plan to see if it's on that cover sheet.
Hello, this is Paul Garland with Davis Partnership Architects, Denver, Colorado. There are 53 parking spaces proposed on our site. That is shown on the cover sheet of the drawing package. I apologize, I don't see the other typos that you mentioned in.
Yeah, it's probably in the planner briefing.
Okay.
Let's see, is that where you mentioned
Yeah, the
them?
planner briefing says 57.
Yeah, that's,
And then there's also, if you look,
So I'm also looking at the planner briefing that we were.
the application
Given.
says 59. If you look at the application that they
Yeah.
filled out, that says 59. So you
I
got
don't think I-
53, 57, 59.
so,
And in your 53, you're not counting the 5 spaces that are for ADA compliance.
We are counting the 5 spaces for.
It's
80
part of the
as
53.
Part of the 53, correct.
Okay, well.
So,
In the letter, Julie, that was sent to you, they say there's 53 proposed parking spaces, and that includes the 5 accessible parking spaces. What you're
That's
saying.
correct.
Okay, all right.
that's correct. And in the planner briefing from 2020, spaces required of 45. So I think they still
Okay,
meet the parking requirement even at 53.
Right. I just kept seeing different numbers and I wanted to clarify that.
Good. Thank you.
Good catch.
I've got a couple questions if I could. Just trying to come up to speed. So the email from Merrick, Julie Kohler, is that, so Merrick is doing the town engineering reviews?
They are now.
Okay,
Yes.
gotcha. Okay. And no comments on that, it looks like. So, and then there was from Will Berry's office, there was or from Will himself, I'm sorry, from Kent Whitmer's office. Will Berry had a couple title questions,
Yes.
and those are resolved, or,
I don't know that the applicant has been able to address those yet. Like I
but they will
said,
be by the time.
they
get
will
to-
be.
yeah,
Yes.
by the
All of
time they
these
get to-
comments will be addressed.
Yeah. And then the border situation here is that we're serving this project off of a Winter Park Town Street, right? The town border goes pretty close to the center.
Okay.
And so James Shockey sent a letter detailing some items for the streets there, right? So for Telemark Drive,
He did through JVA.
right? yeah,
Yes.
A June 15th letter. And everything there is pretty copacetic, or,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, it's, the border gets complicated in this area for sure. So the town boundary. So, okay. And then this was in the attachment. It didn't have any label on it. Is this the town's review of utilities, or this was just a
I
page in
can't
the attachment?
See what that is. Oh, this is just the code section
Okay.
regarding,
Code review on
yeah,
utilities.
just for your
Okay.
reference.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay, yeah, just some titles would be helpful. So, yeah. no
Yes.
worries. Okay, all right, that's all I had.
Yep.
Julie, what was it that you said there was a typo and you provided a correction to the mayor?
Yes.
Is
So
that the resolution?
the resolution,
And
yes.
what was the correction?
The correction is in the legal description,
Uh-huh.
lot, you're in the packet, it says lot 2C. The correction is, it should be lot 12C.
Okay, 12C. And if you look in the resolution that I have in my hand, it says there's 59 parking spaces.
It does.
So
And
that's why I
again,
was very
this
confused.
is something that I brought over from the previous resolution, so we can change that.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, Sam or Carnell? Are those the only two on there? I guess that's- yeah.
No, I'm all good.
Sam, are you?
Yeah, I'm good too. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Sam. Anybody in, I guess, I'm used to running. Anybody in the public? Yeah, please.
Yeah, I don't think we officially opened the public hearing.
Yeah, we have to do that.
So by me, I run it a little different. By me opening and talking about it, it's open. So,
Okay,
but we can make that motion. There's different ways of,
okay, I'm,
okay. Does somebody want to make a motion?
I moved that we open for public hearing.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Okay, is it now? Is there anybody in the public? Looks like everybody's applicants. Bob is our only.
Oh, sounds good to me.
Anybody online, you can digitally raise your hand. Okay, no public comment.
we can close the hearing.
Okay, can we close the public?
I move to close public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion or motions?
Here, you need a copy?
I can't make the motion, guys.
Yeah, no, sorry, we're just getting a copy of the motion, Margaret is, so.
I move to approve resolution approving a major site plan for new Fraser Health Center to be located at the Village of Grand Park, 512 Lot 12C, Town of Fraser, Grand County, Colorado, etc.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. When do you guys break ground?
We get the money.
Okay. You're welcome to stay for our next,
Does Peter need support?
maybe. I don't know. Peter, do you need support? Yeah. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Yeah. Okay, we are now at, I lost my agenda. We are now at Coast Lake on Main final plat. Did I say it right? Coast Lake? Yeah. On Main final plat. Are you gonna do a
Yes,
presentation
yes,
of that?
I'm not. Alyssa Rivas is with Baseline as well. She is on Zoom, and I believe she will be able to share her screen and present that way. Go ahead, Alyssa.
All right, I'll share now. Let me know if you can't see this. 1 second. All right, can you see this okay?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, as Julie mentioned, my name is Alyssa Rivas. I'm with Baseline. I'm a planner here as well. And I am presenting the Coast Lake on Main final plat. And the applicant for this project is 406 Xerox LLC. They're requesting approval of the final plat. And it is located at 406 Xerox Street and 315 Fraser Avenue. And the subdivision application is being processed as a major subdivision in accordance with section 19-3-210 of the municipal code. And that section just outlines the major subdivision plat requirements, standards to divide one or more lot or parcels of land into 5 or more lots or 5 or more dwelling units. And just to remind you, this was heard by the Planning Commission on April 27th, 2022. The preliminary plat was heard and conditionally approved by resolution 2022-04-01. Here's the property located or outlined in blue. It's located again near the corner of Fraser Avenue and North Dock Suzie. It will consist of 4,000 square feet of retail space and 20 apartment units. And it does just aim to deliver low income housing units to the residents of Fraser. And there were 7 conditions of approval. I won't go through those. Those are noted in the planner briefing. Oh, and I did just want to note that staff did receive updated civil drawings from the applicant on June 20th. Those were not included in your packet, but the applicant will still be required to address all the referral agency comments when they resubmit those. And with that, staff recommends that the Planning Commission forward this application to the Fraser Board of Trustees with a recommendation of approval, including those conditions of approval noted in the planner briefing. And that is all that I have. I can take questions, and I believe the applicant is available as well.
Commissioners?
We're ready to ask questions.
Yeah. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I moved to open the public hearing.
Second.
Or is all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Opposed?
I did have a question. In one of the merit comments about the drainage, it mentioned that the outfall should connect to either to the Fraser Avenue existing storm water or else to the river. My question is that water treated before it goes into the river? Because that's my question. It is.
I'm just nodding that is a good question. Alyssa, I don't know if you spoke with Merrick about those comments. My experience is usually there are some kind of settlement type of treatments that are required before anything drains into a body of water.
Assuming that
that the code requires a detention facility that has a water quality component to it, then the answer to that would be yes. The outfall coming from that facility would be treated water, just from a water quality standpoint.
There were comments though that I guess this is an underground detention facility.
Yeah.
So then there were some concerns about the maintenance and there were some concerns about it. So I don't know, Peter, are there any more? That's probably more of the civil engineer's question, but
Isn't this the same that the distillery?
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Same process that the distillery is using. For
are they
their-
using underground there
It's an
also?
underground.
Okay,
It's fairly expensive because I remember Barry talking about it.
right.
I mean, they
But they're better.
are challenging to maintain, but that's a burden that falls on them.
And Margaret, we don't, our stormwater in town isn't treated before it goes to the river. I mean, that's something we need to address
Yeah,
in the
definitely.
future. So, but yeah. And on a small lot like this is probably about the only practicable solution to that. So,
My second question had to do with snow storage or snow removal. Where is that going?
It is shown on the site plan, and that was part of the review from the last plan commission meeting, but Kevin, I see you might want to speak on that.
Yeah, happy to speak on that and just making sure everyone can hear me.
Yes.
Great. Yeah, so that will be all on site per code. And we have sufficient on site snow storage.
I missed it. I gotta look in here. Okay.
Any other questions, Bob?
In number 3 in the planning brief, you go through and list the 8 conditions that were in the preliminary plat and make comments about it. The applicant is working with CDOT to secure necessary permits. This is on the access permit. And I understand that CDOT was requesting additional traffic studies be done.
That's
Now,
correct.
my question is the traffic study that was in our planning brief or in our packet, is that the requested CDOT traffic study?
I don't believe so.
So we're still waiting for a CDOT traffic study or the requested CDOT traffic study to be submitted. Because there is a traffic study in there, which basically says, oh, everything's going to be all right until you get to 2034 or whatever it was. And then it's going to be lights out.
Right. So
Unless
since-
we've done something else in the meantime.
Since Fraser doesn't issue that access permit, we requested the applicant to work directly with CDOT to get that condition addressed. So maybe Kevin, you can, or who else, one of the applicants can address what the status is with that. I know that you were working on getting an updated report, but I have not seen that yet.
Yes, of course. So we received, or we had the new traffic study performed. They wanted to see more traditional high periods, which don't necessarily line up with Fraser high periods. So we've had that performed. We're hopefully getting the report today or tomorrow, and we'll submit that with CDOT. We are happy to share that with the town as well.
And then I had one other question. I think the drainage report that was in our packet addresses number 4. And so if I read the drainage report that's in our packet, it says that we'll catch the 100-year flood, 24-hour flood storm in the infiltration basin with no discharge to the Fraser River. Only if we exceed the 100-year flood will you have a discharge without it going through the infiltration basin. It's going to overflow. That's the way I read it. Is that true? So the drainage report that's in our packet is the final say-so on drainage.
I believe so. Again, can you answer, Kevin?
Yeah, that is correct.
And then this is more of a, just a, oh, by the way, comment. We had a lot of things in our packet, but two things that didn't appear in our packet at either the preliminary plat or this final plat application was the phase 1 environmental site assessment and the geotechnical engineering study. And normally I would think that if it's an engineering study that's been done and requested, we would get that in our packet. And we didn't see it in the first pass, and we don't see it this time. And the soils report relates directly to the drainage because they have to make assumptions about infiltration rates and sheet runoff and things like that. And soils are part of that.
Sure. I have that. I can forward it to you if you'd like to see it. I don't know why it wasn't included. We did receive, Alyssa, correct me if I'm wrong. We did receive a soils report with the application.
We did, yeah.
Okay.
You can send that.
Comment. I don't have any other questions.
Any other commissioners?
Yeah, and on that, I guess back to drainage a little bit, there was some comments in the Merrick review about size of piping. Sounded like it was pretty minimal, and those would be upsized, I would assume. So
If that's the recommendation of Merrick
Yeah.
and it's within the right of the town of Fraser to
Yeah, as
enforce
far
that
as-
with their code,
right.
then those will be addressed. Yeah.
Okay, and it just seems like all of this is kind of pointing to do everything you can with drainage on this. So, and then the other thing that has somewhat to do with drainage was that, and again, in the Merrick reviews, they said that they felt that the finished floor elevations ought to come up to get see the 1.5 feet above the flow line elevation. Was that addressed at all, or?
To my knowledge, that hasn't been addressed yet.
Okay.
I don't know how the applicant plans to respond to that
Okay.
comment.
And it's kind of, yeah, this is a flat area. I mean, we always got to kind of have to keep in mind that Fraser was a big open wet meadow at one time. And flood events are going to be, unfortunately, we need some right now to get some water in the reservoirs. But anyway, I think that these comments, hopefully the applicant will address those. So, and then the one thing I was curious about, and I'm sorry I wasn't here for the preliminary plat hearing, but what are the restrictions on the low income housing units? How is that structured?
That is a question I am not familiar enough with the code yet to be able to answer.
Well, I don't think
know.
there's a code requirement for it. So, but it's being part of the
River Walk District.
right,
Yeah.
It's a bonus for
right.
density bonus.
So do we put an actual parameter on how that restriction is done, or? Okay, hopefully the town board can hear that, because the towns found in the past that that restrictions that end even after 30 years, we've got 2 projects that are going over into the private sector. So I just hope that they're robust and can be a permanent deed restriction so that they do remain
Does
attainable.
the applicant want to comment on that?
Yeah, so our current proposal, and we can put this in writing too, if you want to have it drafted up and where our heads are at, is that these will be within the 80% AMI rental table per Chaffa, essentially. So be limited by the ceiling of that in perpetuity.
in perpetuity. That's great to hear. Okay,
Well, they have to for the bonus.
yeah. Okay, and then so the survey documents, and I was having a hard time kind of sorting them out, but from Warren Ward had a tremendous amount of comments on them. Are those still being addressed, or?
So we've had some discussion between the applicant and the reviewer on
Mhm.
those. we're asking the applicant only to address the things that are actual state statute regulations. And they can disregard any items that are just aesthetic or, you know.
Asking for
lightweight.
clarification though. So, yeah,
Yeah, so I haven't seen a resubmittal on the survey yet.
but that's what the plat was with all the, it looked like one of my second grade
Yeah,
essays.
yeah.
A lot
I
of
think
red.
our
mark, but
survey reviewer was a little exuberant.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean,
Thorough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the first time. So we're still working out, sort of getting Merrick involved,
uh-huh.
to what degree they need to be involved. And, this was actually the first time, sorry. This was actually the first time that Merrick had undertaken a plat review.
Okay.
And it's a classic, in my experience anyway, a classic conflict between, one surveyor who's licensed with the state and another surveyor who's licensed with the state. They both, owe allegiance to the state statutes, and maybe have either slightly different interpretations or just one has a different style, and so some of the comments that we got were a little bit more about style than they were truly about the regulations.
Yeah.
And so that's the result of that. I think going forward, for the most part, we're probably not going to ask Merrick to do full plat reviews, depending on the complexity of the plat. Our planners are accustomed to doing, to looking at plats. And so we can, evaluate that and then decide if Merrick needs to get involved. The other thing that I'll just note that, is again, another conflict that we're having or sort of adjustment that we're having is Merrick did not review the major site plan and the preliminary plat. And so we're getting a lot of comments. This was their first opportunity to look at this application.
After the
We're
preliminary
getting a lot of
plat approval.
comments that are coming at this stage. In the future, going forward, we will be getting Merrick involved in those earlier stages so that we can hopefully get those kinds of comments, as many as possible, resolved, before we get to a final plat.
Right. Okay.
So
Oh, so the last question I had was, the town regulations on ADA units, that there's one unit provided in this plan, and I know in Riverview 2 are required for 20 units. So do we know what the code is on that, or
I do not. It
Peter,
looks
do you
like
know, or
Peter Nelson, my understanding, it's one for the first 20.
one for the first 20? Okay, that's odd.
And
So-
we have another ground floor unit that is a 1-bedroom that not specifically ADA, but
But it is ground floor. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, remote accessible. Thanks, Peter. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, anybody else?
I just have a follow-up.
Yeah,
To Andy's concerns or questions. So when you do look at the drainage comments from there are a lot of them in there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there were lots like this needs to be. So what's gonna happen with those comments? Are those gonna be addressed or is it?
Sure. So all of the comments will be addressed and hopefully resubmitted before this goes to the board.
Hey, Parnell.
yeah. So my question was, has anybody looked at that drainage thing we did with Barry in the town on that site? Somebody told me they had looked in those and they're dry. There's no water in them. So if there's a way to, save money for the developers and the future residents by tying that system together instead of building a new one, might be a better idea than just having us put underground tanks everywhere that aren't filling up with water or doing anything that they're supposed to be doing. So I just wanted to know if anybody looked at that.
I think I can't imagine the negotiations to try and figure that out and make it work. I mean, it's a great idea, Parnell, but I think
It's a simple canal across the alleyway that we got.
but you have multiple people involved.
I know, I get it.
Engineering and, I mean, I suppose that you guys, Peter's the only one, Peter, the only one here from I keep looking at, I can't imagine them wanting to go down that road, but maybe. And if you want to halt the development and ask if you can hook into I don't know.
Well,
Looking at, current conditions from year to year, these things are sized for a 100-year flood, right? So, they may be dry several years in a row, and then you hit a 100-year flood and they're going to fill up. So, yeah, I think that'd be a real iffy proposition.
Yeah, all detention facilities are dry almost all the time. That's the way they're designed. And they're designed to infiltrate, or outfall within a 48-hour period. So again, even under the circumstances of a storm, it would not take long. It would take 2 days before that is basically dry again. So I agree that it's not a sound idea to try to share a detention facility that appears like it has additional volume when that volume would have been again accounted for the 100-year storm for that development.
Good thought, though, Cornell. Did you have
Yeah,
more?
that's good. Nope, that was it. Thanks.
Okay. Sam, do you have any?
No, I'm good. Thank you. Good discussion. Excellent plan.
Anybody else? Okay, public, anybody from the public wanna? Any public online? There is no public online. Okay, motion to close.
So moved.
Go ahead, Sam.
Oh, no, go ahead. I was going to move to close, but if you have
Go
something else
ahead.
to add.
You did.
You did.
Okay.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And then further discussion or motions?
I do want to say that I'm really happy that we're seeing this type of project downtown, mixed residential, commercial with small units. I think it's exactly what the town needs. So,
That's exactly what we asked for.
yeah, and that's why we did all this zoning effort and everything else. So I appreciate that so very much.
It was the development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you'd allow me to add on to that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I think this is an excellent project, and the participation between town staff and the developer has been extensive all the way through the process. And I've seen a lot of preliminary plats and final plats come through both at the county level and here at the town of Fraser. This is one of the best that I've seen for thoroughness. Each time we had questions, but you had answers. And so well done.
Thank you very much.
Do we have a resolution copy by chance, or it's not in the minutes? So there it is. Okay.
There it is.
Okay. I'd move to approve a resolution approving, I'm sorry, a final plat for Koslick on Main, 406 Xerox Avenue and 315 Fraser Avenue, a replat of lots 30 to 33, et cetera, for the legal.
For a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
See, Peter didn't need you after. Good. Thank you, guys. But we really appreciate you bringing this to the town. It's something that we definitely need here.
Absolutely. Just a slight improvement on the Dairy Queen.
Hopefully they're gonna get One Love back in there in one of those retail
One of those
spaces.
spots.
Yeah. They had good food. They sure.
That Thai place that was there that may have been before you, man. There was that Thai
That was good.
restaurant.
Yeah.
So
That's
good.
the hope, to get a couple of good restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Okay, open forum. This is the public can address the planning commission, so raise your hand digitally or you're in the building. Nope. Other business?
I'd like to ask, where are we in terms of creating additional parking in the downtown area? Because when we went through the preliminary plat for this project, Koslick, we were counting up parking spaces, and they're utilizing some of the parking spaces right in front of their commercial end of the business as spaces that count towards their number of spaces they're required to have. And how many other restaurants and establishments, either on the same side or the opposite side of the street, are also counting those same parking spots along the street as parking. And the conversation at preliminary plat was, we're going to have to eventually do something to create more public parking in the downtown area. So my question is, I'm not aware of any meetings we've had to discuss that. Have we?
So I can answer that. So the board has tasked staff and the EDAC committee to look at parking throughout the town, to try and figure out where we could put overflow parking, parking garage, what makes the most sense for the town of Fraser. So it's in progress that we're moving forward with looking at yeah, they're for the mural festival and what's the other event that was going to happen there? Oh, the farmers market. Yeah, for the farmers market, we're going to have a farmers market. Yeah, in the town of Fraser. That's at the mural park there. So we've directed staff to create signage because we just purchased. The town of Fraser just purchased Victoria Village, which is over 11 acres on the north side of town. And there's that Park Avenue that runs there that people were long-term. I mean, there was abandoned vehicles and RVs and everything else there. So we're going to create, at least for this summer, we're going to create some overflow parking in that area for those events that we're having. So, yeah. But it is on the list.
So who did you say was looking at that?
EDAC, Economic Development Advisory. So that's a huge driver for the economy as part. So we tasked them with that. So.
It's interesting to look at the Breckenridge model where their parking garages outside of town and they have programmable parking meters. So during busy times, it's really expensive to drive into town and park, but you can park for free in the parking garages and ride the bus. And the way they financed that was, and this will be a controversial to say the least, but actually Vail Associates agreed to a seat tax on the chairlifts, just help support the bus system and these parking structures. And then of course, Breckenridge, way after the fact, they were able to build what amounts to a bypass in town too. So, which is always a lot easier to do a long time ago, but still, that's the kind of direction that we're years from, or maybe not many years from, but there's some good models out there.
And the resort's talking about the gondola that goes to downtown again, which will bring even more people. Yeah, sounds great.
I could suggest don't follow the Idaho Springs model where they just put in pay parking with no option.
Yeah.
Because we used to go down to Bojo's and Idaho Springs once in a while. It ain't happening anymore.
And we just got to make it attractive, Sam, for people to come here without a car. Bus system and trains and just ways to get people in town without bringing their vehicles. So
amen and good luck.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other business?
I have one other question. When are we up for a redo of our master plan for Fraser?
I don't know the answer to that.
Well, the reason I bring it up, is because Grand County is going to start the process of redoing their master plan next year at some point. It's on their docket to create a new master plan for Grand County. And I was just wondering how our plans dovetail with their master plans. And that could be an opportunity for us to look at regulations that support each other and or push more density towards the city limits of Fraser.
Right. Well, hopefully, I'm not sure who to.
It's my understanding that, and this is from Mr. Cannon, that it's in the budget this year to update
To start it,
the master plan. The master plan and the comp plan are basically the same thing. The state statutes call it the master plan. Most communities call it their comprehensive plan. But they're one and the same, really. And that's my understanding is that it's to be done this year. Yeah.
Okay.
So right, it'd be great to dovetail with the county efforts.
yes, it would. And particularly as we look at growth areas where, we have growth area, we have a 3-mile plan, growth plan. The county has its growth plans. How does all that dovetail together? If we're both going to be doing master planning in the next 12 to 18 months, we ought to have some conversations between the two groups doing planning.
The county's got a new planner too.
But a new old planner.
Yep.
Yeah, good idea. So the county should be pushing.
Right,
density
they should.
to the town. Okay, any other business? Okay, I would like to formally thank Sam Brewer for serving on the planning commission. I really appreciated you being on here all these years, and I'm sad to see you leaving. So you'll be missed.
Oh, thanks, Philip. I appreciate it. It's been good working with the group here. It's a bunch of smart people. I've just been trying to keep up. So carry on. Good luck in the future. And I might pop in from time to time and be an old man. So thank you again for the opportunity. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, Sam.
So you say you may pop in. I hope you're staying in town, Sam. So
Planning to for at least for a while. So yeah,
Good.
I'll be around.
all right.
Well, Sam, thanks for your efforts on the planning commission over the years.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, future agenda items. Have anything they want to? Okay, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I close the public.
Adjourned.
Thank you.
There's 2 philosophies you can, the chair can